right, happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Overtime. Once again, I am your host, Nick Robbie, and as always, we have a great show planned for you again today. We've got a lot of good stuff today, including a wrap-up of NAU Tennis season. We'll grade the Cardinals head coach, Bruce Arians, and we also have an exclusive interview with NAU men's cross-country head coach, Eric Heins. We'll also get you ready for the upcoming weekend in local sports action, as always. But first, joining me as my student co-host, Gus, the Bus Margiotta. How you doing, Gus?
I'm doing good, Nick. Thanks for the intro.
I try. I try to make you look good here.
Thanks.
You ready for some fun?
Oh, I'm ready for it. Let's
Talk
get this
some
going.
sports?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do it. Starting with our first question. All right, NAU football, they're close to the end of their season, but so far, what's been the most surprising player in your opinion, Gus?
You know what? There's a bunch of guys that have surprised me this season, like Chima Ike, Ryan Reardon, Lucky Dozier. But someone that surprised me is the man under center, Chase Cartwright. Before we get into it, let's take a step back and think of what happened here. Chase took over for Kerry Grosser last year until a knee injury ended his season. But after camp, Chase wasn't the guy. He then plays the role of hero and bailed out NAU of a 17-point hole at Sac State, where he went 16 for 19 and threw 3 touchdowns, and hasn't really looked back since until last weekend, where he split snaps with quarterback Kyron Poe. I think he's getting the notion now that he's going to be the starting guy. He's going to be able to lead this team.
All right. Yeah, I would agree. I agree that Cartwright really stepped up recently, but in my opinion, the defense has been the driving force behind the Lumberjacks this whole season. Between Ryan Reardon's Sports Center highlight sack against Cal Poly, I think we got that video in there for you, and Lucky Dozier's 3 interceptions and 58 tackles, which is second on the team behind junior linebacker Austin Haskett with 71. Senior defensive lineman Tim Wilkinson's 2.5 sacks. The defense plays the unit, and despite a quarterback switch midway through the season, the Jacks still eyeing a playoff run, currently ranked number 14th in the FCS and 3rd in the Big Sky. So I don't think they end up with the record that they have right now without that defense.
No, I don't think so either.
All right, next question. NAU men's and women's tennis standout athletes. This is kind of a tough one. I guess I'll start this one out since we don't often talk a whole lot about tennis. But I think on the women's side, Joanna Vang is still the leader of the women's team. She finished the fall season on the injured list, but head coach Kim Bruno says she is a great leader. She's helped the younger players improve this season, including some really good showings late season by sophomores Jordan Denisik and Amelia Box. A good season all around for the Lady Jacks. What do you think, Gus?
Nick, I'm going to go with the guy we got on the screen right now. His name is Jordan Gabati. He's a transfer student from Riverside Community College, and the change of scenery seems to be working out just fine. He came away from last weekend's easily invite at UNLV with a 3-1 record. Before that, at the ITA Championships, he went 2 for 1 in his singles matches and his doubles matches. Aside from Gabati, Kester Black and Fabio Tomasetti have also been solid for the Jacks in their doubles play.
All right. Good season, everybody, though, on NAU Tennis.
Agreed.
All right, moving on. NFL season, we're at about the 50-yard line of the NFL season. Cardinals right in the thick of it. How would you grade Coach Arians' performance this season as head coach? Gus, what do you got?
All right, I'm going to have to give Coach Arians a B on this one, and here's why. He led his team to a 4-4 record so far. This time last year, the Cards were 4-5, seeing only one more win after Week 10. That's meaning that he really hasn't impacted the team that much. Now, last year, the quarterback position was a revolving door, and the biggest issue for the Birds was that. I mean, in bringing in Arians and quarterback Carson Palmer looked pretty good on paper, but I think you have to cut Arians a little slack here. Palmer just doesn't have it anymore. I think where he earns his grade in his decision-making, like the addition of Tyrann Mathieu in the draft, who's been playing solid, sound defense as one of those at-risk rookies, and the more versatile use of Patrick Peterson. He's literally done it all. The only thing holding Arians back from an A+ is his team's record, but we've got 8 more weeks to see him turn things around there.
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of ground there, Gus. I think the Carson Palmer project has shown some signs of success in their last game against the Falcons specifically. He had a couple touchdowns in that game, but he also threw another interception. And on the season, he has 14 picks.
They're going to go for it. It's 4th and short.
The
Graves under
defense has
center.
been the team's strength, but
Takes the snap.
that is definitely the wrong video, so we'll take off that video here. We're talking Cardinals here. So Arians, he was brought in as an offensive guru to turn around the Cardinals' attack, and so far the offensive spotty at best. B-. C+, 4-4 record, the very definition of average. So, I mean, what kind of awards are you going to give Arians at this point? But I have seen some room for improvement, some good things, some bad things. We'll see if they can get the rest of the season on track. All right, next up, we'll talk a little Suns basketball. Next question for you today, Suns basketball, and what has been your early impression? I will start things off. Well, I think I was a little disappointed to hear about the Marcin Gortat trade right before the beginning of the regular season. I liked him. He was a good player, got a lot of rebounds, but I get it. The team, they're gearing up for a big draft in 2014, and this year it's more about rebuilding. That being said, I've been pretty impressed with what new head coach Jeff Hornacek has gotten out of this team. Gave one win against Portland, game win against New Orleans, and Eric Bledsoe has looked like the real deal after that last-second three-pointer against Hornacek's other former team, Utah. I didn't expect that much this year, so I guess with low expectations, I like what I'm seeing. What do you think, Gus?
You know, I think the Suns have been a big surprise to me so far this year. They picked up early wins against the Jazz, the Trailblazers, but they lost a close one to Oklahoma City, which I think shows that this team is for real. And believe it or not, I think that this team has something special. Goran Dragic's field goal percentage is up. I mean, although it's from 5 games or whatever. Although, I think this team compared to last year's team is going to be a lot better. This team is playing a different brand of basketball, and the addition of Eric Bledsoe has gone according to plan. He stepped up as a leader and, more importantly, a scorer. But another strength of this team is that they're young. That's going to help them out down the stretch when, the legs get tired of those veterans.
Yep, they won a young team, so that's what they got. All right, finishing up real fast, who do you got for the MLB awards? We got MVP, we got Cy Young, we got Manager of the Year. What do you got in the American League?
American League, I'm going to go Chris Davis for the MVP. John Farrell from the World Series Boston Red Sox is my Manager of the Year. And lastly, Cy Young is going to Detroit pitcher Max Scherzer.
I don't have any problem with those picks. I do think Miguel Cabrera is probably going to be out Chris Davis for the MVP. But on the National League side, I got to go with Clayton Kershaw for Cy Young. Paul Goldschmidt for the MVP. Despite the fact they didn't make the playoffs, still he has the best stats around. And Pirates manager Clint Hurdle for the top manager because the Pittsburgh Pirates made the playoffs. Who would have thought it? All right. Well, that's it for some questions. Stick around after the break. Brooke Cowell sat down with Big Sky cross-country Coach of the Year, Eric Heins. More overtime coming up.
Hi, I'm Terry Markson. As seasons change, so does the inventory at Terry Markson Chevrolet Cadillac. To make room for the 2014 models, we're clearing the lot, and that means great deals for you on our 2013s. Right now, you'll find rebates up to $10,000 on select Chevrolet models. Choose from a full line of vehicles, including the totally redesigned 2014 Silverado 1500. You can always count on our same relaxed, no-pressure environment. Terry Markson Chevrolet Cadillac, real hometown value.
Modern Grove Neighborhood Eatery and Market defines the heartbeat of our local community by bringing together the food and families that call it home. Modern Grove, located on South Milton Road, open daily from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Come enjoy the aroma and taste of our homemade bread, pizzas, and much more. Sit outside on our patio for a relaxing afternoon beverage.
All right, welcome back to the overtime. All right, Coach Eric Heins took over the cross-country program at NAU 6 years ago, and in those 6 years, he's won the Big Sky Championship every single year. Brooke Cowell sat down with him to tell us more about this season.
Thanks, Nick. We have some big news. Our NAU men's cross-country team has won their 7th consecutive Big Sky Championship last weekend. I'm here with Coach Eric Heins, the men's cross-country coach, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how you got into coaching and why you picked NAU. So, how'd you get into coaching, Eric?
Well, I was a student-athlete at University of Cincinnati, and I was originally there for engineering. I was struggling in some classes, and I talked to my coach there and talked about, what steps I could take to actually get into coaching, because I felt like I was a good team leader, and I felt, it was something that I knew a lot about. And he advised me that, maybe take some exercise science classes to figure out if that's something I would do. As soon as I did that, my GPA went up dramatically. I got into graduate school at Indiana University, where I did volunteer for them. Volunteering there led to a grad assistant position here at Northern Arizona, and that was the biggest step, coming out here, being part of a program that the men were 4th in the country, the women were 7th, and being there with national champions like Johanna Nilsson and Ida Nilsson, and seeing a ton of All-Americans come through here. So for 2 years, I got to spend my time learning under Ron Mann and the program that was here. So that kind of got my foot in the door. I took a part-time job at Southeast Missouri State, which is kind of the typical path for collegiate coaches. You got to earn your way up to the top, and I went to Southeast Missouri State for 3 years. Really felt I did a good job there and made the right connections, moved to TCU for 1 year, and then by the time I was done with that first year, the NAU position came open again. And a former co-coach of mine, I guess, Coach Hardy was the sprint coach at the time, and he knew me. I had worked for him for a little bit as a grad assistant, and he called me to encourage me to apply. So I was fortunate to come back here in 2007.
And I know that you were here, you left, but you have been head coach here since 2007, and we have won the last 7 consecutive championships, so you were a part of the last 6. How does it feel being part of that success?
Well, it feels great, and I mean, really the biggest thing is just you never want to be the one in charge when you don't win, so I mean, it's fun. I think we've got a great group, and I talk about the success here is we're successful because we want to be successful, and there's not a whole lot of pressure. There's not this fear of failure. We have good student athletes, and they're driven and they're motivated, so they want to keep the streak alive as well.
And how does it feel with the team working together and working hard and getting 7 in a row?
Yeah, well, it's really neat because we've seen so many different faces. Now this year and last year were the same group, but last year's team was such a totally different team from the year prior. A whole bunch of new faces, and they were still able to go out there and win what was at the time the 6th straight. So for this team to be able to come back and repeat that, it's a great accomplishment for them, and my hat's off to them, because it is hard to repeat those, and to continue to repeat it, it just gets tougher, because then people want to continue to knock you off that podium.
Definitely. So what's next for you guys this season? I know you still have at least 2 more meets, right?
Yeah, we'll head to the Mountain Region Championships, and that's the qualification for the national championship. So if we can finish in the top 2 there, we automatically will move on to Terre Haute and race the national championships.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today, and good luck at nationals and regionals. Back to you, Nick.
All right, thanks, Brooke, and a big thanks to Coach Heins, and congratulations to him and his team on their Big Sky win. All right, stick around. Kaylee Emery has your sports schedule for the weekend.
I was an ordinary guy, but I switched to Suddenlink's new internet, and now I can't stop being awesome, because it's the fastest in town. Downloads, uploads, any kind of load, everything just flows, at speeds 13 times faster than phone company DSL. Even when the whole family is online, there's no buffering. With DSL, we were suffering. Yep, anything the phone company can do, I can do faster. Now that I have the next big thing from Suddenlink. Now that I have a house full of easy.
Snoring can be more than a mild annoyance. It could be a sign of a much deeper problem with your sleep pattern. If you suffer from sleep disturbances, trust the Mountain Heart Sleep Center in Flagstaff for effective treatment. With a full-time staff led by Dr. Stephen Marks, your corrective care is immediate with no need for a referral. And they're the #1 accredited sleep center in northern Arizona. Mountain Heart Sleep Center, for a good night's rest.
Welcome back, guys. Well, we have another full weekend of sports here in northern Arizona. We'll start things off with some high school cross country. Flagstaff, Coconino, and Northland Prep's cross country teams are competing in the state championships. It started today and will end tomorrow down in Phoenix. The NAU Swim and Dive team heads off to northern Colorado for the first time this season to face Colorado State. This meet started at 5 o'clock earlier and will continue tomorrow at noon. The NAU men's basketball team started their regular season on the road as well. They will take on the University of Texas San Antonio tomorrow at 6 o'clock. They will be playing without their star player Dwayne Russell after he decided to transfer away from NAU. And the women's volleyball team plays one of their Big Sky rivals, Portland State, on the road tomorrow at 8 o'clock. The Lady Jacks have a 10-4 conference record with a 16-7 overall. And that's what's happening this weekend around Flagstaff, so it should be a good one.
A lot of good events out there, a lot of NAU stuff going on. How do you feel about the start of basketball season, Gus?
This basketball season is going to be really interesting with the loss of Dwayne Russell for the Lumberjacks.
Yeah, really interesting development there that just happened this past week. Their leading scorer from last year, the returning scorer, Dwayne Russell, not with the team, so hopefully everything's all right with him. But obviously go out and support those Lumberjacks at the Sky Dome this weekend, and hope everybody has a great weekend. How did it feel, Gus?
Oh, it was awesome. I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Having fun.
Glad to have you. Gus the bus. Gus the bus. Gus the All right.
One day it'll fit. One day.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll join you 1 week from today.
It was fun.